Hank is our Zoom tech host. I will be wearing several hats during tonight's meeting. And my first hat for this night's meeting is that as Sergeant at Arms. So I'm calling the meeting to order, welcoming everyone, and rapidly switching to my next hat, that of Club President. My name is Kuwaza Imara, and I am the president of the Vision Masters Toastmasters Club. I'd like to welcome our guests, and if you are willing, just briefly, just say your name, who you are, and where you're from. Thank you. Well, I'll call out names. Katrina.
Oh, Katrina's not a guest. She's our member. She's a speech crafter and she's our table topics master. Somehow
Yes,
she
is.
got a G on her name by mistake.
Okay. We do have her as table topics. I was just calling on guests, not identifying the members. I see a colleague. Hello?
Yes, teacher. Good evening, everyone. My name is Khaligo. I'm from Afghanistan. Now I live in United States. I living now Maryland. I live Silver Spring, Maryland. Sorry.
Well, very good. Welcome to our meeting. Glad to
Thank
have
you
you
so
with
much.
us.
Thank you so much. Yes.
And I see our Region 1 Advisor, Rose Curlins. Welcome.
Thank you so much for welcoming me here today. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to hearing your guest speakers as well as learning a little bit more about your club. So thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for visiting. And we have another officer luminary visiting us, D. Marie Shy King. Welcome.
So hello, everyone. I am on my phone, which does not have video, but I am anxious to hear your meeting tonight. So I'm glad to be here. And hi, Rose, how are you?
She's muted for the moment, but thank you. Thank you. And we have listed as a guest, although he's been here a bit, we'll identify him and introduce him, Mike Pruitt, our club coach.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and President. I'm glad to be here. And I would just want to mention that Lisa Thompson and I were the first two here. And we said, just the two of us? Bill Withers. We thought that was when we were in high school in 1974, we were supposed to graduate. Turns out that was the 1980 song. It was like, wow, where'd the time go?
Time flies, and I hope we all had fun. And on that note, our next guest, Lisa Thompson. Hello, welcome.
Thank you, Kawaza. It's nice to be here again. I'm Lisa Thompson. I'm the Assistant Division D Director. And along with Cynthia, we are planning our spring conference as co-chairs. And things are moving along very slowly. If you'd like to help and be on a committee, we'd love to have you participate. So thank you for having me. Back to you, Master Toastmaster.
And since you mentioned her name, our guest speaker, Cynthia Stott. That was your intro to say hi.
I gotta find my mute button. Yes, I'm Cynthia Stott. I'm the Division D Director, and I will be your guest speaker tonight.
Thank you.
So glad to be here.
I am glad and feeling, wow, just full and overwhelmed to have all these dignitaries attending our meeting. Geez, thank you. This feels very, very special. And that's a lead in to my role as Toastmaster. As Toastmaster, I will be coordinating the pace and flow of tonight's meeting. And as has been hinted a couple of times, we've got some great information in our speeches. I like to think that Toastmasters, in addition to providing an opportunity for folks to practice speaking, also is a place where we can get great information, not just on where to stand, how to move your hands, but inspirational points and tips that help all of us speak a little bit better. Our meeting is composed of 3 parts. We will have the timed speeches. These are the speeches that the speaker has prepared for to speak in a specified time frame and will be evaluated as such. The second part of our meeting is the table topics or impromptu part of the meeting. This is the part of the meeting where the speaking parts are not rehearsed. And I strongly encourage all attendees here, particularly our guests, to take advantage of speaking during table topics. It's an opportunity to practice speaking before a group. The third part of our meeting is the evaluation part. The prepared speeches will be evaluated. The time of the speaking parts will be evaluated, as well as our usage of grammar for the meeting. And there will be a general evaluation of the entire meeting. So these are the parts of our Toastmaster meeting. And on that note, I will call forth to the virtual lectern our general evaluator for tonight's meeting. Fortunately, general evaluator for tonight's meeting is not here yet, so I will stand in his place and call upon the members of his team to let us know what their roles are for tonight's meeting. Our first person I'll call to the virtual lectern is our timer, Hank Cartwright. Hank, will you come to the virtual lectern and let us know what your role is for tonight's meeting?
Yes, I'm Hank Cartwright. I'm going to be the timer tonight, and I will be timing the. I'll be timing speeches with the initial speeches. It'll be at 4 minutes. I will put up a green card, and you'll see a green background. For the 5 to 7 minute speech, at 5 minutes, I'll put up a green card. And then at 6 minutes, I'll put up a yellow card. And then at 7, I'll put up the red card. And for the table topic speeches, I'll put up a green at 1 minute and a yellow at 1.5 minutes and red at 2 minutes. And for evaluations, I'll put up a green at 2 minutes and a yellow at 2.5 minutes and a red at 3 minutes. And I raise my hand so that you should be able to see me and my background while you're doing your speech. And that's all. Yep. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you for that explanation, Hank. At this time, I will call to our virtual lectern, our grammarian counter for tonight's meeting, Mike Pruitt.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. the odd-counter grammarian role is, first of all, to watch for filler sounds, such as so, like, and things that we want to work on getting out of our speeches. I also will look for the word of the day, using the word of the day options, which means things that are or may be chosen, such as it's important to have good options when making a decision, an important decision. Also, I will be looking for germs and gems, corrections in our grammar, and phrases that I think are inspiring or memorable. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Hank, for that explanation of your role as grammarian. I would just like to inform our attendees that if you did not exercise the option of downloading the agenda prior to the meeting tonight, you can go to the chat and the agenda is available in the chat. As I mentioned, we have some very interesting informational speeches tonight. Our first speech, our guest speaker, Cynthia Stott. Cynthia Stott, for nearly 40 years, was terrified of public speaking and visibility. She experienced a tragic and sudden loss in 2003 that caused her to go on a journey to find her courage and self-love. And she found her voice. She was too terrified to join a Toastmasters meeting, even as a guest, for 13 years. For some of us, this may sound familiar. After a calling was laid on her heart, she became a distinguished Toastmaster and is now the division director serving 18 clubs in Oakland, California, USA. She is an international speech and confidence coach. She is a global visibility influencer with over 55,000 followers in 140 plus countries. Her motto is, "Your people are waiting for you." There is no better platform to spread your message than on the TED stage. Her speech title tonight, TED, what is your idea worth spreading on the red dot? Cynthia Stott. Cynthia Stott, TED, what is your idea worth spreading on the red dot?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Do you have an idea worth spreading? Have you considered speaking on TED? What is TED? I've heard of TED and TEDx. What's the difference? Well, first of all, TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. I always think of the E as engineering, but it's not engineering. It is entertainment. And it was started in 1984 as an in-person venue that was not recorded, that was not placed on YouTube. Then in the early 90s, they started recording it and putting it up on YouTube. And Brene Brown was one of the first people to be recorded. And when she heard it was going up on YouTube, she secretly thought about stealing the tapes because she was afraid of going viral and being spread all over the world. Well, it did go viral. And it went 5,000, 10,000, million. I think she's been up to multiple millions, maybe 10 million. but she hasn't been to the highest ranks, which the highest ranks are one by Sir Kenneth Branagh, that his speech is, do schools kill creativity? And his speech was not about technology or entertainment or design. It was about education. So TED has been opened up to any idea worth spreading, including technology, entertainment, and design. And his speech is the #1 seen all over the world. It's 80 million views on YouTube. So, but he spoke on TED proper. I call it TED proper, on TED, TED Global, TED Women, TED Med. Those are actual TED events. And that's the difference between TED and TEDx. So TEDx was created sometime later because a lot of people wanted to audition and speak on TED. If you want to speak on TED proper, TED Global, TED Women, you will have competition of 25,000 people that are vying for about 300, maybe 400 spots. And so they created TEDx because they have many more speaking spots and there's much less competition. You probably have less than 50 or at most 100 people vying for 20 or 30 spots in a TEDx event. And there are literally thousands of TEDx events all around the world, but they're licensed by TED. And if you speak at a TEDx event, you're considered a TED speaker. And if you are posted to YouTube, you can go viral just like a TED Global event. But it's not guaranteed when you speak on TEDx. TEDx, you can speak on the event, but if you don't have a video that passes TED's standard, or an audio that passes TED standards, or what they call the TED guidelines. Basically, you can talk about anything, just like in Toastmasters, you can talk about any subject, but you have to abide by the TED standards. You can talk about God, because a lot of people don't think that you can talk about God on Toastmasters or on TED, but you can talk about God on TED. There are many, many TED events that are recorded at TED Global and also TEDx about God, but it can't be dogmatic. You have to follow the guidelines about how you present that information. And if you are presenting scientific information backed up by research, that it will be researched by TED proper, and they will make sure that your data is backed up and legitimate. They don't want any pseudoscience. So there's several things. So that's the difference between TED and TEDx. It's harder to get on to approved to speak on TED proper, but you will definitely be posted onto TED.com and YouTube. If you speak on TEDx, you have to pass certain criteria to be able to be posted. And recently there were 25 speakers at a TEDx event, and only 5 of them were recorded on YouTube. So that's the second thing I want to talk about is, how do you go viral? Well, you can go viral with a TED Talk or a TEDx talk if you are posted to YouTube. And you need to get at least 1,000 views in order to go viral. Viral is actually more than 1,000. Maybe you think 1,000 is viral, but you really have to go to a mini virus with 1,000 in order to get onto the higher levels. And YouTube has algorithms that will pick you up if you hit that 1,000. And I have a workshop about that I can invite you to later. And the third thing is, what is your TED idea? So as I said, it's not just technology, entertainment, and design anymore. It's any idea we're spreading, but it's a single idea. Your TED Talk needs to have a single idea worth spreading. So it's not just sharing, it's spreading. And I think that TED Talks that aren't seen by at least 1,000 people are kind of a sad thing, because it's a way for you to share your idea, whether people live in New York, Manhattan, or a sheep herder on the plains of Africa in Kenya. You can reach everyone because it's on YouTube. So there's a lot of differences between TED and TEDx, but you can go viral whether you speak on TED or you speak on TEDx. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for that speech. And I'm going to ask the timer to give us a minute. Actually, I'm going to ask for 90 seconds in which the attendees can submit their comments to Cynthia in the chat. While that is happening, Cynthia.
Yes.
Okay. What I'd like to do, I'm not seeing our second speaker.
Yeah, I just got a message from her via text. She had a family emergency.
Oh my goodness.
And she won't be able to speak tonight.
I hope that things work well, and we'll send prayers out for that.
Yes.
What I was going to do, if you're willing, Cynthia, if we can take a few minutes here, like maybe 5 minutes, and I'm sure some people have questions for you about TED and TEDx. I have some questions, and I'm sure others may have questions. If you'd be willing to do just an impromptu Q&A, we can exercise that option for our meeting.
Absolutely. Do you want to put 10 minutes on the timer? We can have, does that sound reasonable or less?
Let's go with 8 minutes, and we can
8
see
minutes?
how that is.
So
And
maybe Hank, you could give us 6 minutes at green and 7 minutes at yellow and 8 minutes at red.
Okay.
And Kawaza, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'd just like to let our attendees know that we have an impromptu Q&A for Cynthia Stott. This was not planned, however, her topic and the subject matter definitely, well, at least for me, raised some questions, and maybe some of our other attendees have questions they'd like to ask you about TED, TEDx, etc. So right now we have open Q&A to Cynthia Stott regarding TED, TEDx.
And you can raise your hand electronically and give your question verbally, or you can place it in the chat.
Well, Cynthia, while folks are getting their questions together, this may sound very basic, but for someone who has an idea about a subject, I have gathered information about, I want to do a TED Talk, quote unquote. How do I get started? What number who do I call? Who do I email? How does one get into that initial loop?
Well, you can look up TED.com and find out. There's also a book written by the originator of TED. You can read that book. It's also available in your local library, I'm sure, on audio or written form. And then I teach about it in my workshops called TED and the TEDx and the 4 elements of a world champion speech, because I see the elements that you need to have a world champion speech in, like in Toastmasters for a contest, as being inspiration, humor, vulnerability, and twist. And I think those things also help in TED Talks. But you can find out a lot about TEDx events that are going on in your local area on TED.com. And you can also look up TED Talks on YouTube. And that's really the best place to kind of, if you're interested in the subject, go onto YouTube and put TED in, and TED, and your subject that you're interested in, and see what kind of speeches are spoken about TED.com on TED.com. So if there are other speeches about your topic that you're interested in, that's actually a good thing. That means people are interested in it. And you probably have a unique perspective on that. You can hear the same question asked of many people, like in table topics, and they will give a different answer. Same thing with speeches. So you want to make sure that your flavor is included in your speech, what you are bringing to the table about that particular topic. Is it from your research and your work that you've done? Is it from a family member or friend or personal experience? And they really want to have different people's perspectives on the same thing, because some of the information that you'll share will resonate with certain people in certain ways. So don't be discouraged if you've seen lots of TED Talks about it. And if you haven't seen any TED Talks about your subject, that's also good information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question for Cynthia?
Can I just get a clarification? What were those 4 things? Inspiration, humor, something.
Vulnerability, that's my proprietary information. So it's inspiration, vulnerability, humor, and a twist, something different, something unique. Something that will make your audience sit on the edge of their seat and take notice.
Well, I have another question for you while we're waiting. So a TED Talk, say we have the initial TED Talk, and it's about growing petunias. Just subject matter off the top, it's springtime. Then later we want to do a TED Talk on how to hybrid petunias and cross match with some. So what I'm really asking is, if you have a TED Talk that gets accepted, you want to do something that's related to it, but it's not the same thing. Do you go through the same process, or can you just add on to that TED Talk?
You would have to go through the same process again and see if they would like that. If you're auditioning for TED Global or TED Proper, TED Women, you need to submit a 2-minute video that's the trailer to your TED Talk. So it's really a lot of information that you need to provide. And most TEDx, it's only a written audition. It's not a video audition, unless they decide
Okay.
that's their criteria, but most it's just a written audition. So making sure that you can boil down your idea we're spreading very quickly in 1 to 2 sentences and then expound upon that.
Wow.
And many people have given many TED Talks. One of my members at Leaders Worldwide has been a TED speaker, and she has given 3 TED Talks.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. But one of the dangers in giving TED Talks is to speak on a TEDx event. They usually have a theme, and you need to match the theme. But it's
Oh.
important to match the theme with what you talk about so that you overlap what you talk about and what they talk about, what they want you to talk about, and that's your sweet spot. Many TED speakers have gone too far in going, well, that there's a theme. Oh, I can talk about that. And it's not what they normally talk about. And I met a person who touts all over the place that she's a TEDx speaker, but she does not display her TEDx for you to watch because she did that. She did not speak. She spoke about the theme and she did not stick with what she wants to talk about. And so she's kind of embarrassed to have you watch her speech. So really hold fast to what your, because that's what's important, that it's your message and that get out to the world. And you can probably modify that message to fit most themes for TEDx, or you can try to find a TEDx event where your theme would be highlighted.
Very good. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for that inspirational and very informational speech. I'm sure myself and probably some of our other attendees definitely got a more clear picture of what TED is and how one, if you're interested, accessing that platform. So thank you very much. As we have learned, our second speaker will not be joining us tonight due to a family emergency. However, that just means that we can more sooner than later have that fun part of the meeting. I like to call it the fun part, table topics. And I'm going to call to our virtual lectern, our table topics master, Katrina Vizinow, who will tell us about table topics and get us prepared for some fun topics.
Hello, everyone. So I have the delight of sharing the table topic, and it's going to be about a light bulb moment. If we think about light, what does that mean? When I looked up the root word of that, it said that is that which makes things visible. It's a spiritual illumination. And before I select someone to ask what their light bulb moment was, I'll just give you a bit of history. The creation of the World Wide Web. Tim Berners-Lee had a light bulb moment when he proposed the idea of global hypertext system, which eventually became the World Wide Web. His invention transformed communication, information sharing, and connectivity worldwide. So I ask, what is your light bulb moment that you can remember? And I'm going to select, let's see. Oh, who am I going to select? I don't know. Would anybody, I can't see everybody, so would anybody like to go first? And I'll ask you, the question is, what was your light bulb moment And what options did it create for you? Would anybody like to? What about Barbara?
Okay, hi. I have a little cold, so I'm a little scratchy here. Thank you, Katrina. Light bulb moment in what respect? I guess I have a question.
Well, a light bulb moment is where you had a burst of inspiration, where
Oh.
something became clear to you. It was an aha moment, a time you were like, wow, now I really understand, or wow, this is great. I had never thought of this.
Okay, thank you. This was, I couldn't believe I remembered this. I was 11, maybe a little older. There was a basketball, this is junior high, right? And so there was going to be a basketball game, and they were going to have a tournament, and they wanted people to submit posters that let's see, described the events that were coming up. My light bulb moment was when I realized I could ask my neighbor, who was an artist, to help me draw the figures in my poster so I'd win. Anyway, he helped me. I won. And so I won $5, and I had to walk up on the stage and get paid. And I was officially an artist at that point. So, Russell Sweatman, after all these years, helped me get confidence in being an artist way back in the day. So I have to say, pretty much because of him, I'm still doing artwork. So thank you for that question. Appreciate it.
Wonderful.
So I could try one.
Okay, so the next question that I have is, what senses were aroused that caused your most memorable light bulb moment?
So I love to start with the word so, apparently. Have any of you ever had a light bulb moment? I know that I did. And the sense that I remember most when I had my light bulb moment was uncertainty. So in 2018, I was faced with either having a kidney transplant or going on to dialysis. And I was told by the dialysis center that I was not a good subject for dialysis, and that the best way for me to go about living my best life was to be on hospice. And I knew that was not going to help me to live at all. So I went on Facebook and I said that I either needed dialysis or I needed a transplant. And one of my friends came forward and said to contact his friend. So the light bulb moment was when he said that I can turn this around and that I can create a website to share my need for a living kidney donor. So today, on World Kidney Day, I thanked the person that gave on my behalf, as well as thanked my kidney mama for their gifts of life. I had 32,600 views of my website when a friend came forward and said, if this is for real, I will do it. And he was not a match. So NKR, the National Kidney Registry, put together a chain where I could get Kerry's kidney, and the person giving on my behalf, his kidney went to Boston, Boston went to Seattle, Seattle went back to UCLA where the chain had started. And I'm living my best life because living donors make miracles happen. So please consider getting tested to see if you can be a living kidney donor. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Wonderful. So a lot of love and kindness and benevolence. Yeah, that's beautiful. And so the last question that I have for someone is, how did your light bulb moment affect those around you? Mike, would you like to take that question?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I have had many light bulb moments throughout my life. And one that I had today was when I looked on the calendar and I saw that it was March 14th, 3/14, also known as Pi Day.
Ah,
And I have some smart kids. So I asked them, how many bakers does it take to make a pie? 3.14. And what is a math teacher's favorite dessert? Pie. And what is a math teacher's favorite snake? A python. Well, I spent the week with my grandkids, and I grew up in Berkeley, and I always enjoyed learning new things and diversity and all that kind of stuff. So I'm getting old, and I'm like, I need to do something to take care of myself. I'm gonna be 68. So I started eating more fruits and vegetables. And I have a really good routine that I go through. I like to at least get 5 good fruits a day. I'm starting, and as I read these things, I had aha moments. So my basic 5 are banana, apple, orange, kiwi, blueberry. And then I start adding some other things. That's usually around breakfast. Then I have like some fresh pineapple and maybe an apple. Let's see, well, avocado and tomato, they're both considered fruits. So I try to have some of that. And then I have a whole bunch of vegetables too, because I have a garden in my backyard. We do a summer garden and a winter garden. And in the winter, around where I live in Antioch, we can grow green stuff, green things like cool wet weather. So I can go out in the morning and pick a leaf of 2 different kinds of kale, 2 kinds of arugula, 2 kinds of bok choy, 2 kinds of chard, and 5 kinds of lettuce.
wow.
And I make this stack of healthy stuff. I put that on whole wheat burrito with little zucchini and bell. This week I went to see my grandkids. I got another aha moment. Those kids don't like fruits or vegetables. They eat almost no fruits or vegetables. I'm like freaking out. I try to tell them, look, my grandfather died of colon cancer and he's 65. And my dad always used to say, he liked to describe his diet as meats and sweets. And you've got some of his DNA. You don't want to die at 65. And my wife's dad died at 60. And he was all about meat and potatoes, no fruits or vegetables. You don't want to do that. Well, did they listen to me? Well, a little bit. I don't know if it'll make a big difference, but I sure love my fruits and vegetables. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Wonderful.
One more thing I want to add. What is the difference between boogers and broccoli? Kids won't eat broccoli.
Oh. Okay. Well, Mike, I think that you have planted a seed, and I think that it will germinate at some point.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for answering my questions.
Well, Katrina, do you have another one? We can take one more.
Oh, you can take one more. Well, let's see. Okay, so okay. So during your light bulb moment, if you had to describe it in one word, what would that word be? And I'm going to ask Dee Marie.
Oh. Hello, Dee Marie. Maybe she stepped away.
Okay. Well, would
Some other
someone
lucky
else?
person. You get to choose another lucky person.
I choose you, Kwanzaa.
Why did I feel that was coming? So what's the question again?
So the question, your light bulb moment, your aha moment, that burst of inspiration, if you had to describe it in one word, your most memorable light bulb moment, what would it be?
I'm trying to think of the most appropriate word. Well, I say appropriate because when I have that aha moment, a couple of things. One, mentally it's illuminating. It's like, oh, and my thinking is, oh yes, this is that, therefore, and I go down a little thought process of what that means and what we can get from that. So it's not just one word. It's a process. I guess the word would be process. There's a process that happens. Also, frankly, when I have a light bulb moment, I get a little giddy. I'm happy. Like, oh, I got that. And so for me, to have something that's new and illuminating, yeah, I get a little giddy. It makes me happy.
Great.
So those are my one word events that happen when I have a light bulb moment. Back to you, Madam Table Topics.
Well, that's all I have for today.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're
I like those
welcome.
questions. I like those questions. And again, I would just like to let our attendees know that the table topics time is kind of like your time as someone who's attending the meeting and may not have a speaking role. It is that, I would say, invitation to just speak up, say what's on your mind, maybe the first thing that comes to your mind. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just an opportunity to express your thoughts, put them in a coherent manner, and share them with us. Kind of like if you're with some friends and something comes up and you think, I want to say something about that. So in our meetings, you will strongly be encouraged to participate in table topics. And now, back to our meeting. At this time, we will have the third part of our meeting, the evaluative part. This is the part of the meeting where our speakers will be evaluated, where parts of the meeting such as timing, use of grammar, and the overall meeting itself will be evaluated. I have a hat that I donned at the start of this meeting, and that is of general evaluator. So I am calling the evaluation team together. First, we will have an evaluation of our speaker for tonight, and our speaker was Cynthia Stott. She was speaking, excuse me, she was speaking on TED. What is your idea worth spreading on the red dot? I am the evaluator for Cynthia. Boy, I got a lot of hats on here. Must be juggling pretty good. So I will give an evaluation of Cynthia's speech. Cynthia, when I first saw the title of your speech, I thought, TED. Okay, I heard of TED Talks, but what is TED and how is it different from TEDx? Frankly, I had never heard of TEDx, and I appreciated you introducing that in part of tonight's speech. First, your delivery. You had good pacing. I liked the way that you started your speech, the way you paced your speech. When you went to the specific topics, TED and then TEDx, you did a pause so that as a listening audience, we could be prepared for like, oh, there's a break here. There might be something different. So I just want to mention that. In your delivery, you define TED, T-E-D. And in your definition, you gave a brief history of TED. For those of us who may be lagging just a bit as far as the various options for getting one's information and spread via technology, this was helpful. I like getting the information of like, oh, TED started like this, but this is how it is. And you brought in TEDx. Oh, there's a little spin-off here, but it's actually connected. So it's not a total spin-off. And you do have to pay attention to both of them if you want to use this platform to get your word out.
You're having chili.
You shared that this is a platform that could be very helpful if one had an idea or specific information that they wanted to share. I also got that it does not necessarily have to be a one-time participation by the speaker. If one wanted to, you could go back and go through the process again to share your information, which was helpful to know. Overall, you had good clarity, good vocal variety. Your pacing was good. I would suggest, and I know it's hard to do via the Zoom technology, but maybe center your visual focus mid-screen, because sometimes it looked like you were looking at various places. And I suffer from that myself because I'm looking at the various pictures on the screen, but they're all over the camera. So I would just offer that. Very good speech. I like the information and actually would like to hear more. So thank you very much. The next part of our evaluated part of the meeting will be the timer. Our timer for tonight's meeting was Hank Cartwright, and I'm going to ask Hank to give us the times for the various speakers for tonight's meeting. Please. You're a little mute right now. Well, maybe not a little mute. You're
Okay, so the first speaker was Cynthia Stott, and her speech was 7 minutes and 32 seconds. And then next I have Barbara Mariano was the first table topic speaker, and she was her table topic speech was 1 minute and 29 seconds. And next was Lisa Thompson, who gave a speech of 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And third was Mike Pruitt with 2-minute and 58-second table topic speech. And then the fourth and final table topic speech was Kwaza, whose speech was 1 minute and 2 seconds. And finally, with the evaluation, Kwaza's evaluation of Cynthia Stott's speech was 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you for that timer's report. Much appreciated, Hank. And now we will have our grammarian for tonight's meeting, Mike Pruitt, giving his report.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My grammarian report first is on and for the meeting. Barbara, you had two us, 2 so's, and 2 ands. Lisa, you had 1 and 2 so's. Mike, you had 2 and 2 ums. Kawaza, you had 1 and as a table topics answer. You had no problems on your evaluator. And as general evaluator, you had 1 You're pretty amazing. You can do it all. Now, as far as gems, things that I thought were inspiring or memorable. TED, Technology, Entertainment, and Design. 80 million views on YouTube. TEDx and the Elements of a World Champion Speech. Inspiration, humor, vulnerability, and a twist, down to 1 to 2 minutes. That was from Cynthia. Barbara, I won $5 and I was officially an artist. And Lisa, I went on Facebook and said I needed that, and living donors make miracles happen. And as far as using the word of the day, we had Kawaza use the word of the day. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for that report. Our meeting's been a little abbreviated this evening as we don't have a second speaker, but we did have a speech that definitely gave us some information, maybe inspired 1 or 2 of us to possibly pursue accessing TED, TED, or TEDx. As one of the audience members, I was definitely impressed by this being another option for someone to get their viewpoint and information out into the world. With all of the technology available, and there's YouTube, there's podcasts, there's TED, etc. There is no lack of technology for someone to get their word into the world. At Toastmasters, we like to pride ourselves on preparing people to speak, they have something to say it. The information that was shared from the talk today just adds another dimension to getting what one wants to say said into the world. Personally, I appreciate hearing all of these ways in which one can share one's perspective beyond the club. So I thank you, Cynthia, for presenting that. And maybe again in the future, some more information about that. And on that note, I am inspired to say this, that for those who are feeling very comfortable speaking in front of others, Here in the Bay Area, we have a Toastmaster TV channel. Yes, you can be on the other side of that camera saying what you want to say. They definitely look for speakers. They have themes. It's about a 15 to 20-minute talk on television. I'll share this. I did a talk on the channel a few years ago, and it's there on YouTube. So you so you can say something, be on the channel, and yes, it gets preserved. So yes, I have a talk on the Toastmaster YouTube channel. My confession. But I encourage particularly those who have an idea that I want to do something beyond the club. I want to share something beyond the club. Here is an opportunity to go visual, to have it, uploaded to YouTube. You don't have to spend a lot of money, and it gets you exposure. So just a little hint, hint, wink, wink, you may want to explore that. But again, I thank you, Cynthia, for giving us some information about other ways that we can spread our information in our word, since that is what we at Toastmasters want our members to do. And I think it's very fitting that as Toastmasters, goes into the next century of its existence, that we are looking at different ways beyond just speaking in a club. So this is the information age. This is the 21st century. Technology abounds. What other better way than to look at how we as speakers can use that technology? So that's the general evaluator's sense of a theme for the meeting. I want to thank everyone for attending and participating in tonight's meeting. Katrina, thank you for your table topics. Mike, I want to thank you for your evaluation of our use of grammar and speech. Hank, thank you for keeping us on a timely track. And for all those who participated in the table topics, thank you. I would just like to, at this point, just ask our visitors who joined us this evening how they enjoyed our meeting. And I'm going to start first with Rose Curlin. Rose.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was an interesting meeting. It was a little different than what I have been visiting at different clubs, which I thought was great because we need diversity and we need creativity. And so I thought that this was really a good way of doing it. And I love the way you improvise. As all Toastmasters know, we have to be ready to expect the unexpected. And that was wonderful that you improvised and you went right into keeping the audience and your visitors engaged. And that is a sign of you growing as a leader. Because as you go, we go. All of us are leaders. And as we go, so do they who follow. And when you turn around, my brother used to say, turn around and see who's following you. And I'd say, there's nobody there. He says, well, you have lots to learn about how to be a leader. And of course, we were rival children because I'm number 13 of 15 children. And so my little brother and my older brothers were always getting after me and playing jokes. But I did want to share that, Kwanzaa, that you led this meeting very well. And I know sometimes it's difficult when we don't have enough people to fill the roles, But do not feel that you have to take it all on you, because many of us here tonight are seasoned Toastmasters, and you could ask a visitor to help you out. And that, just know that. Other than that, I'd like to say that please do put out your PR again, because it was your public relations promotion on social media that piqued my interest, and I fit your time into my schedule so that I could be here to see your wonderful open house and your speakers. And I do send my thoughts and prayers to your other speaker who could not make it here tonight. But thank you for having me. I'm honored to have been part of this evening. Back to you.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you for your comments. I'm now going to, call on one of our other guests for tonight's meeting. And I'm going to hopefully pronounce your name correctly. Sabariah?
Sabaraya.
Sabariah, I'm sorry for mispronouncing.
Thank you so much. This must be of the day or the evening. I'm sorry, apologies, I can't put my video on because I came in like in a rush. Okay, I'd like to say thank you to Cynthia for always inviting me and posting about your meeting. And it is open house, and I really like to know about tags and also about Toastmasters meeting. Right, I'm here to support everybody. And I'm from Malaysia, actually. And I think this is not my first time here. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for attending our meeting, and hopefully you got some good points and tips from our speech tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
D. Marie Shy King.
Well, my goodness, as you know, I always am so grateful to see that you all are growing, things are moving and changing and going in the right direction. I am so grateful that Rose had a chance to see that advertisement that brought her into the meeting tonight, because those flyers play an important role in letting people know what to expect when they come to the meeting. And you were able to pivot and make a move to increase the impact of the meeting by having the Q&A session. That was quick thinking, and it saved the day. So thank you so much for all that I've seen, and I look forward to getting back with you one day next week.
Thank you. And I just want to mention that I am aware that the speech contests are still going on. And so some of our guests who are officers may be a little more involved in some of those contests coming up. So whether you are able to be with us or not, we definitely appreciate your being with us as you can during this time, and appreciate your input. Thank you very much. Cynthia, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that there is the Division D contest. So Vision Masters is a part of Area D3, and we had our meeting our contest was a week ago Monday, the 26th. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago Monday. But the last area in Division D is having their contest tonight. I'm actually toggling between the two. And our division contest between all 4 areas will be on March 28th at 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. So mark your calendars for that. And Kawaza, are we going to all go to that meeting and forgo our meeting for the Vision Masters that night?
We probably will, just to cheer on our fellow club members. Even though the members from our club who represented Vision Masters did not move to the next level, I think it's good that we're there supporting other club members so that we can say, yes, as you move through the division and area, you've got our support.
Yeah, and it's a great learning. I remember when I was at the Federal Reserve Toastmasters Club, my club mate made it all the way to the semifinals at the
Wow.
World Champion of Public Speaking. And I saw him in every competition except because my plane was late. I actually
wow.
meant to be there, but my plane was late. And he didn't make it to the world stage, but I was there for the world stage finals. And you learn so much by seeing every level, because every level is different. It's a contest, but the judges are different. The timers are different. The contest chair is different. Like a timer, in order to be a semifinalist or a world champion of public speaking timer in that contest, you must be an accomplished Toastmaster and have been a timer several times.
Wow.
But they also give you 8 additional hours of timing training.
Wow.
8 hours. Yes. So you really have down to the milliseconds. You have to really be on point when you're a timer. And timers are so important for contests. But at that level, it's really, really important. So I think going to a contest at the different levels really helps you see and understand how it would be to be at that contest as a contestant, maybe next year at the different levels. And also to see how the speakers, what kind of speeches they're giving, what kind of the evaluations the evaluators are giving, and all of that is going to contribute to your becoming a better speaker, more effective and impactful.
Thank you for that extra piece there, Cynthia. As I mentioned, here in our club, we invite people in and provide an opportunity for folks to get comfortable speaking before others. But this is just the first step on a long journey. And for those who definitely want to learn to speak better, whether professionally as part of whatever company you work for, whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you just want to be able to string a few words off the cuff, this is the great place to start. And we strongly encourage our guest visitors to come back, join us as we have fun practicing the art of the speech. We are finishing up our meeting a little early, and I just want to thank everyone for attending and participating. And before we go, Mike, yes, it is the 14th. It is the what we call Pi Day, and for all the followers of Einstein, you know, and the mathematicians. But for those of us who want to just have a little something after the meeting, this is my pie for the day. So a little sweet ending to the meeting, and I wish everyone a good evening and weekend. Thank you.
So Kwanzaa, I didn't get called on.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
Well, let me call on you right now. Lisa Thompson.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure to have been here once again. If you missed my training for District 57, we are doing the training again on the 11th, which I know is already passed. And part 2 will be on the 18th, part 3 on the 25th in District 46. And I would love to have you come and practice table topics with us. And
No, go ahead. I have a question.
I'm ready.
So you said part 2 and then part 3. If we miss part 1, can we still attend part 2?
Definitely.
Okay,
So part 1 is crafting the best table topics responses. Part 2 is crafting the best table topics questions. And part 3 is using exciting styles to entice your members and encourage them to answer your questions and to give wonderful responses. So part 3 has a lot of practice in it. And yeah, they stand alone, and we will review quickly at the start of parts 2 and parts 3 what we've done so far, and there will be recordings available. In fact, Sally was thrilled because she had not been able to capture us for part 1 here, but there is a recording for part 1 in District 46. So
thank
we're
you.
thrilled to be able to offer this training, and we would love to have you come. I already, well, you have my email, Kwaza, but I put it in the chat earlier. So everyone should have that. And we would love to see you there. Last time we had over 65 people in attendance for part 1, and we have 100 registered for the series, and we're continuing to advertise. So
Mm.
thank you for letting me answer a table topic question here tonight. And I don't know how many of you know that you actually get 2.5 minutes to answer your table topics. Each timing has a 30-second grace period to it. If you go to 31 seconds, you're in trouble. But 30 is absolutely fine. And good luck in the contest. And thank you for having me tonight as a guest. I wasn't sure I was going to be up to it. Otherwise, I would have been a speaker. I was in the city today. And next time you can invite me to do something. So I'm
Great.
happy to come back anytime.
Great, thank you.
Seeing everyone, your club's really growing stronger. And it's delightful to see people that are growing along with you. So
Thank you.
good. My pleasure.
And thanks for that bit about table topics. It's a part, as I said, that I really like. I think it's a great piece of the meeting that is wonderful for visitors, first timers, or that person who's maybe been coming for 6 months and still hasn't spoken.
Right, but the other thing about a table topic is it's a mini speech. If you have an opening and a body and a conclusion, you can do any speech. So whether you're speaking for 2 minutes or you're speaking for 20 or you're speaking for an hour like I am during the training, by having that beginning, middle, or body and closing, you have that magic sauce that you need anytime you're speaking about anything. So it's really, really good practice. And often you can use a table topic response and you realize how much you want to be able to say more about it, so you can use it for future speeches. It's like a little seed that just grows. And it's a wonderful way of doing it. And Cynthia didn't mention, but she does a fabulous podcast on Clubhouse on Sunday nights about that message worth spreading. And if you are interested in doing TEDx or just spreading your message throughout the world, it's a wonderful way to start thinking about that one sentence of your message and how you want to spread it throughout the world. You know, in my case with my kidney, I just want people to be able to share their story so that they're not asking you for a kidney. They're just asking you to share their story of their need for a kidney. And right now we've got 100,000 people who are waiting for and approved for receiving a kidney. So especially on World Kidney Day, it's so important, as I'm sure Hank will testify to in what he's seen in nursing, that if you're able to, it's really wonderful to be able to get tested. And in fact, today on World Kidney Day, we have kidney donor athletes that summited Mount Kilimanjaro. They all have just one kidney. They're all living kidney donors. And yet they are strong and healthy and amazing. And they say that they got more from being a donor than they ever could have given.
Thank you, Lisa.
So you're welcome.
So on that note, I will wish everybody a good evening and a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Kwaza. My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
you
Everybody have
all.
a good
Thank
evening.
you. Good night. Great job.
Good
Good job.
night.
Good
Thank
seeing everyone.
Bye-bye.
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 So
You're
Hank,
looking
did you,
good. Kawaza,
did you
you're
see
looking
COVID
good.
people?
Wait, I hear
Hank.
3 people talking at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
one at a time. Mike. Okay,
Oh,
Mike,
he
your
froze?
your screen is frozen, Mike.
looking good. You look really good. You look healthy. My goodness. Anyway, can you hear me?
Now we
Can you hear
can.
me? Okay. I just want to say that you look great. You look healthy, vibrant, energetic, and I loved all the roles that you played tonight. Great
Oh,
job.
okay.
We
Thank
didn't
you.
know who you were talking
And
to.
handsome.
Mike.
I said
Exactly.
handsome,
Like,
handsome,
I thought you were
handsome
talking to
too, yeah.
Lisa. Like, okay.
Many hats. Yes.
So Hank, I was wondering
And
if
great
you had,
job, Hank.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So Hank and I are going to do some training on using the spotlight.
oh good.
Okay.
You know,
Great.
you can do multiple spotlights. So if you have a timer and you have your table topics person, you can have them both up on the same at the same time.
Yes, that's what we're going to
Okay.
try doing here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hank,
I
I was
need to-
wondering if you had seen kidney people in your nursing.
Yes, yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, all the time. And very usually it's people with chronic kidney disease. I didn't the unit where I worked, we didn't get transplant patients, but there was a lot of dialysis, a lot of in ICU we use a different type of machine called, well, it's called continuous renal replacement therapy, which is basically the same function of filtering blood. And
I was
so,
on it for 10 days with a shunt in my neck. I crashed into it because of taking a NICET.
oh wow.
Yeah, really scary. 2008.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I understood that like a lot of people because of COVID were losing kidneys. And one of our members, Bobby's son, he had a transplant and then got COVID and lost his transplanted kidney, went back on dialysis, and he just got a deceased donor kidney last week.
Oh, that's great news. But
Well, it hasn't completely woken up. It will be really great news when it completely wakes up. Because so far he's still on dialysis and hoping that it wakes up.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you want to come to Kidney Stories and do a speech, do your COVID speech, but incorporate a lot of kidney stuff. We would
Okay.
love to have you. And we meet the first and third Sunday at 7 each month. So just let me know when you want to come.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll come up with something. I'll think about that.
Yeah, I think you can use that same speech. Just tie in a little bit more about people crashing onto dialysis as a result of losing kidney function during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you
yeah,
have numbers on that?
do I have numbers? You mean like statistics?
Percentages of how often that was happening.
I could probably find something. I mean, just from my I could maybe estimate just from experience, but I think I couldn't look up some more like official numbers.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I know that there was a huge interest in it. So, and your story is so good. So yeah, if you want to come and do that, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I can do that. Yeah,
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
Good seeing you. Just reach out to me and let me know when you want to come.
You are inspiring, Lisa. You are very
Thank you, Mike.
inspiring.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm running for division director for next year. Hopefully I'll continue to inspire. So I
All
appreciate that.
right.
Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
appreciate it. Are you getting your OATM together?
Old age to the old
You're out.
old
No, I
age
thought after I did my speech that
trauma,
Cynthia.
old age trauma maker. That's what it is. First, I've got to get my triple crown. That's my.
Yeah, how far
I want
away
to
are
get my
you?
elite triple crown first.
How far away are you?
Well, I've got my 3. I just need to find out who to apply to. Somebody in the district is in charge of this. I called Toastmasters International. They said, no, that's a triple count is a district thing. You gotta find the person in charge in your district. And I don't know who it is.
Yeah, but that's like kind of like almost irrelevant. All you need to do in order to qualify is to have 3 levels, including a level 5.
Got those. Yep, got it. I finished that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so then you're all set. So just talk to Sally.
Sally.
Yeah.
Sally
Philbin.
Philbin.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's
good.
PQD.
She's the one. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would talk to her and, she should be able to at least direct you to what you need to do next. Just tell her that you've completed it. You just want to make sure who to get the paperwork into so that they know that you have it. I just finished mine today. So my
Great.
problem wasn't doing it. My problem was having it approved. And I actually had to switch clubs in order to get it approved because your
Wow.
good friend would not approve it.
My good friend.
Yeah.
Who's my good
So
friend?
hold your ears, Hank. Cassandra
Oh.
Garabedian was the VPE, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
was in Leaders Worldwide, and she refused to approve anything for me.
Oh my goodness.
I switched into Lakeside Speakeasy, where Sally's president, and had no issues after that.
Oh, great. I see
Yeah.
how it works. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
unfortunately. Yep. So
Well,
if I can be of any help, let me know.
Yeah, I have my level completion certificates for all 3 levels.
Yep.
So I'm figuring that's what I
You
need.
know, I it should be kind of like automatic. They should know that you got it, but you could just send like a note to Sally saying you got that and you just want to know, what to do next. And her email's all over the District 57 website.
Great. And I
Yeah,
I
so you
know
can get
there's
it there.
when it comes to getting things done, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Oh yeah. Yep. You got to
Murphy's
get
Law.
that in by April 1st.
But do you know? Oh, I've got to get in by April 1st. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you
Because that
know?
way, otherwise you won't be honored at the at the conference.
Okay, I'm gonna tell her that you told me to call her, and I'm gonna get in touch with her because April 1st is only a couple weeks away.
I know. Well, you've already finished it though. You just need to send her the copies of your certs.
Right. So,
So-
that's let's see, Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Oh, I know. You
But
got
do
it.
you know O'Doul's corollary?
No, I should, but I don't.
O'Doul's corollary is this: Murphy was an optimist.
That's great. I love it.
Okay, we're gonna do some practice on our
All right. I'm
thing here.
spotlighting.
So thanks for
Okay.
coming and being
My
part of our
pleasure.
meeting and livening things up, giving people
Good.
to think about. Donors make miracles happen.
You got
You got
it.
me
Thank you,
thinking.
Mike. Get tested.
You're welcome.
See if you're eligible.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Testing. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So I've got a screen share going on here. So
Ooh.
can you see the little blue thing up in the right-hand corner with the 3 dots on my page, on my picture? Up here in the right-hand corner it says mute, and then it also has a box with 3 dots.
Well, I see your
Can you
desk.
see it?
I see the desktop, your computer's desktop. I don't see any Zoom stuff.
Okay, let me start over then. Hold on. Okay, now I can see you.
Mhm.
And I'm going to try sharing my screen. For some reason, whenever I click on this, it makes this funny thing. You can't see me now?
No. Yeah, I don't see you. I see you now, but not when you're sharing your screen.
Okay. Oh, okay. So can you see me? Right now you are the main screen. You are the spotlight. Are you seeing yourself as a spotlight?
No.
Because I
Oh,
see you as the main person on the screen, as a spotlight. So up in the far right-hand corner, it says view.
mm-hmm.
If I click on view, I get this drop-down menu. It says speaker, gallery, hide self-view, hide non-video participants, show meeting times, full screen. See what happens with full screen. How about full screen?
Okay.
So
I
with
think
that, there's a,
are you, when you say at the upper right, are you talking about, well, I see I see a small video of myself on the top of my screen, and I see, and you're still
Oh.
spot. And then when I go up to this, I see a menu that shows some other options.
I
And
wonder if it would help if you stop the recording.
oh, possibly, yeah. I let me stop the recording now and see.
Okay.